There were once 3 little pigs who became merchants. Every year on All Hallows Eve, they would wander the woods looking for a good spot to set up shop. With folk visiting stalls and buying the finest of pumpkins, spooky decorations, jack-o'-lanterns and eerie costumes, towns and villages followed the tradition of Halloween like no other. But if they wanted the good stuff, they needed to venture deeper within the woods of Redwater. For the pigs had stalls of their own, selling the rarest of Halloween antics that one could only dream of. They each offered specific items at a discount price that no one could refuse. With their warm, loving nature and polite mannerisms, they would persuade customers to spend their hard-earned coins at their quiet stalls. However, there was a catch. With regards to special items, VIP only, the customers would have to follow the pigs to their houses. While the houses weren't too far away from the stalls, the dark and treacherous path turned many astray for centuries, since that part of the woods was forbidden. However, there were a few brave and adventurous souls that followed the pigs home hoping for rare antiques. Instead, they saw one house made of straw, one house made of sticks, and one house made of brick. But the villagers were deceived, for none of them made it out alive. The warm, soft-spoken and polite mannerisms from the pigs were merely a disguise. They stood fully fed outside their homes, with ferocity and terror crawling in their bones. Their sharp teeth and yellow eyes may pierce those who wander foolishly towards the pig's gallows. But this Halloween, the evil pigs have made a grave mistake. In their greed and hunger, they let a victim escape. While they managed to chase her down and slit her neck, her body tumbled down a dark, windy cave, causing a wreck. How would the pigs know this cave belonged to a werewolf? One that was large, powerful, cursed and aloof. Maybe the pigs in their vile and merciless killings were not looking for a fight, but Victor the werewolf will surely return the favor this Halloween night. Little Bo Peep, in this timeline at least, had killed her sheep. That wasn't meant to rhyme, but I just had no other way to put it. When she was younger, she was next in line to look after the sheep in the village, but her behavior raised suspicion among people. Every night on All Hallows Eve, Little Bo Peep would wander the graveyards, presumably speaking to the dead. She would sway in a trance-like state while speaking unnaturally. The villagers noticed this unusual behavior and refused to have Bo take care of the cattle. They feared she would poison the sheep or use them for rituals and dark practices. Their supposition would be correct, but they did not live to prove their theory. One dark Halloween night, Little Bo Peep wrote symbols on their doors, sacrificing sheep in her basement, then writing the same symbols on her walls in blood. Next morning, all the villagers were dead. Those wandering near the village had assumed the villagers died from the plague. Miss Bo Peep, who was not so little anymore, lived in the village by her lonesome. Then one day she saw an elderly woman leading a passel of pigs. With excitement, she made a deal with the woman to buy the 3 pigs for herself. Confused, the woman accepted the hefty payment, then surrendered the pigs to Bo Peep. Miss Bo Peep, however, never used the pigs for meals or for profit. In fact, they became her test subjects in her basement. Ritual after ritual, she transformed them into monstrous beings with sharp teeth and yellow eyes that had a bloodlust worse than werewolves and vampires. Once Bo Peep got the hang of the rituals, the pigs began talking and changing at will, from calm, innocent animals to evil, monstrous fiends. Every night on Halloween, she would set the pigs loose, causing havoc in the woods of Redwater. Year after year, the pigs became smarter. They knew Bo Peep never loved them or even took care of them. Their only meals were devouring people on Halloween, then returning home for more foul practices done on them. One day, when the pigs returned home to an old Bo Peep writing symbols on the wall in her basement, the pigs ripped her apart, piece by piece, until only her teeth and fingernails remained. Years later, the pigs established themselves as unique traders, disguising themselves as adorable merchants for their sizes, luring people into their houses built of straw, stick, and brick. However, they knew they could only catch people on Halloween, since many believed the pigs were dwarves that wore realistic costumes. But these pigs were brutal. They would use gardening tools to dismember their victim first, and then feed on the body parts. By doing so, they would discard the weapons at different locations in the woods, leading the police on a wild goose chase. The three little pigs were brainwashed into only feeding on Halloween, nor could they change their appetite no matter how many times they tried. And that's what happened tonight. There was a young couple that fell into the trap of their persuasion, then followed the pigs home in search for their antique collections they lost a while back. Nonetheless, the woman had an uneasy feeling and chose to wait outside. When her boyfriend took longer than expected, she entered the brick house basement and saw the pig smashing his body with shovels. She ran out, stumbling along the way, horrified from what she just saw. The Redwater police station answered her frantic call while running, and then the signal cut off. The evil pigs gained on her and took a swipe with their sharp claws, slicing the woman's neck while she tumbled down a cave. They would have followed her in, but they smelled a monster lurking in there. Victor the werewolf pounced up from his bed, hearing the woman's body drop his newly found utensils, disturbing his sleep. With his glowing blue eyes and monstrous size, he walked towards the woman, holding her gently, but she choked on her own blood and died. Fiercely, he looked at the entrance of the cave and heard tiny footsteps scurrying away. For a moment, he felt like he was holding his wife dying in his arms all those months ago. Victor then took his bedsheet and covered the woman's body respectfully, then gently closed her eyes with his large furry fingers. He growled in anger, making his way out the cave. However, there were too many people wandering the other side of the woods. Despite it being Halloween, he could not blow his cover, especially when the monsters from the werewolf trials were hunting him. Victor could channel a deep roar all the way from his belly, and while that would indeed scare the humans away, the werewolf did not want to frighten them as children were around. Therefore, he took a deep breath in and howled. The humans on the other end looked around, scared but not frightened, then left the woods quickly. Now, the hunt begins. The werewolf moved from tree to tree like a shadow creeping up against the moonlight. It wasn't difficult following their scent. This foul odor of sweat, blood, and pus. It stung Victor's nose as his eyes changed back and forth from blue to red, but remained on blue. He remembered not to reveal his rage, especially when there were so many people around. Victor followed the dark, ominous, forbidden pathway in the woods. He wondered why any human would dare to walk it, but then the scent became stronger. Finally, he stood behind a tree trunk and saw 3 houses in the distance, next to each other. The evil, grotesque pigs stood outside, trembling with fear. They were worried the monster inside the cave may have caught their scent. They whispered, but all the werewolf could hear were oinks and grunts. Victor grabbed a large rock on the ground and threw it with all his might. It hit one of the pigs square in the face as it squealed on the ground. Meanwhile, the werewolf was so caught up in finding out who these pig monsters were that he never realized there was a young boy following him. A kid with big spectacles, no more than 7 years of age, donning an adorable Halloween outfit, holding a notepad in his hand. As fearful as he was seeing Victor, the brave child took cover behind a tree and wrote down everything that he saw. The pigs ran inside their respective homes, trembling uncontrollably. For so long they were used to the victims being human, being able to bully and torture them. But now, when the tables have turned, they had nowhere to run. Victor then pounced at the front door of the straw house. He tried opening it, but it was sealed shut. He snuffed a few times and felt an awful taste in his mouth. Dark magic. The werewolf heard the pig from inside, laughing in a high-pitched, sadistic voice. Victor then ran his fingers onto the side of the straw house. This part of the house felt different than the front. Maybe the dark magical seal only worked for the entrance. Now the werewolf smiled. His body felt a bit more relaxed than before. He knew exactly what to do. Victor took a deep breath in and puffed out his chest, swinging his fist with so much of power and speed that it looked like a gush of wind. The straw house began breaking with each punch landed by the werewolf. The evil, disgusting pig from inside jumped out the window, fleeing inside the house made of sticks. Victor repeated the same maneuvers, damaging every side of the stick house, punching, slicing, and clawing his way until there was nothing but mere splinters and dust on the ground. The two pigs had now sought refuge inside the brick house, the strongest and most secure of all the houses. The brick house had a much stronger seal cast upon it. This building was impenetrable, though if there was a way the werewolf could get in, he knew the pigs would not be able to run away. Ah, the chimney. Victor glanced at his broad shoulders and tree trunks for legs, then looked up at the chimney. How the hell am I gonna fit in there, he thought. However, the werewolf loosened all of his muscles and shrunk his body, then slid down the chimney. The three little evil pigs ran towards him with weapons in hand, smacking Victor with shovels, pickaxes, and baseball bats. The grey wolf stood strong, feeling those hits like insect bites. When the pigs tried to bite him, blood splattered on the windows and walls. The boy, still hiding in the woods, wrote everything down while his mouth remained opened in pure astonishment. He saw the werewolf kick open the front door of the brick house, then walk out with a large brown sack. Victor put the sack over his shoulder, but as he was going to walk away, he saw the little boy hiding behind the tree. The werewolf knew that if he panicked, so will the kid. And if the kid panicked, then every human in the surrounding areas would storm the woods and see Victor as a werewolf. Victor closed his eyes for a minute and said, "Hey there, kid, happy Halloween. Just visiting my friends, that is all. The sack has ketchup in it. Yes, ketchup." The boy held his notepad as his sweaty palms soaked the pages. His mouth remained open and his wide eyes showed through the spectacles.
Master?
The kid said.
You huffed and puffed and blew their houses down. I saw your chest moving up and down and bam, this gush of wind came out of nowhere and the houses crumbled. You're superhuman.
Victor laughed and suggested that he walk the kid back towards the town. The boy told him that he got lost and couldn't find his way back. Then he saw Victor moving in the woods and decided to follow. The werewolf then said, "Listen, big man, when you go home, I'm going to need you to do me a favor. Ask your mom or dad to call the Redwater police station. Speak to Fesliyan Hunt and Fesliyan Hunt only. Tell him there is someone in the cave in Main Ridge that he needs to pick up. You may give him my name, Victor. He will know what to do." The boy looked up at Victor Humbridge, deep in thought, almost like he knew all along, then bravely said,
Say, mister, this isn't a costume, right? You're really a werewolf. The monsters that my mom and dad tell me about.
Victor bent down on one knee. His blue eyes were soft and calm. He replied, "What do you believe?"
I think you're a good man trapped in a werewolf suit trying to make a difference.
This response filled Victor's heart with so much of emotion that he never did find the words to reply to the child. He saw the boy exit the woods, cross the road safely towards his parents, frantically looking for him. Victor then returned to the forbidden part of the woods. The sack over his shoulder dripped with blood as he fumbled inside. The werewolf pulled out the heads of the evil pigs that he had just slaughtered and stabbed them through wooden stakes near signboards. As Victor turned around, making his way back towards his cave, he had remembered what the boy told him. Huffed and puffed and blew their houses down. Sounds really catchy. I'll huff and puff and blow your house down. I'm definitely gonna remember that one.